Press this button. Okay, I think. All right. Let's see here. So now I just gotta stop this. Just stop. Okay, there. Okay, that's. He said. Then I remove. Okay, we got it. Okay. I just want to test here. Can anyone hear me? Hello? This is my first time here, so I'm excited, I guess. I've never done one of these things before, and Nathan asked me, well, he didn't really ask me to come. He made a political, not a political, but some sort of satire about me some time ago called like the Fujifilm Progressive orders pizza or something like that. And I thought it was a little unfair, so I thought maybe it'd be nice if I came on and, in my own words, did things, said what I believed, and I think that's probably the fairest. He should have done that. So here we go. This is, and I can barely see. The thing is, when you're at somebody's house and you don't really, like, I know Nathan. I met him. Maybe I'll get into it a little bit later, but I met him. And I don't know him that well, but I have come to his house. It's a little bit weird coming up into his studio. It's a filthy mess, by the way. A filthy mess. Anyway, oh no. You can't be too careful. Anyway, when you're at somebody's house that you don't know very well, you need to take precautions. Unfortunately, I left my gloves. I had some nice plastic gloves, and I had rubber gloves under them, and I don't know where they are. But anyway, yeah. So I do have some notes here, and I just want to make sure that I'm getting all the intros correct. Nope. But I think he's not knocking. Guys, if you can just give me just one second here, just 1 second. Yeah, I don't know how to mute this thing. I hope I'm doing it right. I never can tell. I think this is, yeah. Okay, I got it. Just a moment. I'll be right back. Okay, just a second. Yeah, what's that? What? Dude, I told you you don't need to have on the mask. I had like a whole bunch of cleaners come in. We've all taken the PCR test 24 times at any CT cycle you want. There's nothing in this house that's even remotely close to what you're worried about. I'm the one that took your glove. Yes, I don't want the gloves in my house. I don't know where they've been. But how can you? It's not really fair that I'm okay. Just take off. Okay, dude, just take off. If you really want to do this and you were forcing my hand, just take off the mask and do it. Okay. People are saying they're a little weirded out. At least people on Twitter. All right, so take it off, dude. Okay. Gosh, man. Okay. Okay, guys. All right. Jeez. Okay, hopefully. Okay, so Nathan didn't like that. He said that I had to take off the mask, and so I've taken it off. He says this place is being cleaned, and that I don't have to worry about germs. And he says that he's the one that took the gloves, and I'm not really sure how about that. Okay, so anyway, that's off. And now we can get on to the real subject of the matter. So we're here. Okay, guys. I do have a little bit of history. I just kind of want to explain. Basically, like this. Anyway, the reason I'm here is that Nathan did a video a long time ago about me ordering pizza, is what he called it, like that. And it was, I think, a pretty unfair treatment of my character. But he got a couple, maybe, he's not a completely unnuanced character, and so he got a couple things right. Anyway, this is how I would like to say it. Nathan and I met some time ago. Okay, listen, I went to a church. My wife happens to be a Christian. I am not. I'm probably basically the opposite, basically. And anyway, I was there for her sake. It was like on Easter or something like that, and that's a special thing for Christians, And Nathan was there, and evidently they were introducing, and my wife raised her hand, and so they found out that I'm a new person there. And so I raised my hand. I said, yeah, and then later on, Nathan approached me later. He approached me at the end of the service. He always likes to, I guess, greet new people. And so the first thing I asked, and I think it's a reasonable thing to ask, is, did you vote for Trump? Well, he didn't think that was necessarily reasonable, evidently, and he said, "I'm Canadian." And then I was like, "Oh," and so I took out my iPhone and I'm like, "Hey Siri," and then I say, like, "Who's the president of Canada?" And then Siri corrected me. That's fine, whatever. And then so I asked him, did he vote for Trudeau? And then Nathan's like, he said something like "dude" or something like that, bruh. I never got an answer on that. Anyway, so I'm here to do something which I think is really special, by the way. I don't think listen, Nathan doesn't obviously have a really popular live stream show, and we got to be honest about that. But here's the thing. He's giving me the option tonight to basically do, in front of everyone, a political compass test. Now, just to show you my street cred, I'm not just a person on internet or whatever. I mean, obviously, I've never done these things really. I think I have the right personality for it. But anyway, I'm a really big Fujifilm fan. This happens to be Nathan's camera. Mine, I don't take out of the house right now because I don't want to get any sort of germs on them, etc. And he said he's wiped this down. And he said 24 like CT scans or whatever they're called. So I'm gonna have to trust him about this. But anyway, I'm a big Fujifilm fan, and maybe this will come out in the time that we're talking. If anyone has any questions, please ask. Oh, there's already somebody commenting in here. Hello, Jube8891. Let's see here. What do you say? Jube, we have someone on. I'll get to the meat of this very soon. Apology. No, that's photo. I guess she was commenting. It's funny. Progressives aren't exactly the most pop. Oh, Jube, you just said. I think we're quite popular, in fact, and I think that we have moved. I think that we've moved politics and the social order in a farther direction than anyone else has. So I don't think that that's really fair to say that. Next question. See, they probably feel they're saving the world from cow farts. Cow farts. I am a nuanced character. I know that evidently that cows do produce a lot of methane. That must be what you're talking about. Yes. Yes, and we do need to curtail our meat consumption for sure. Absolutely. Hello. Konbanwa. By the way, I live in Japan just like Nathan does, so I can totally read Japanese, as everyone here, not everyone, but I mean some of us can definitely read what you said, which is konbanwa. Okay. Your cruelty-free ritualistic face muzzle is hindering your breathing. You're not a progressive, are you? Okay. Anyway, guys, that's the preamble. I want to get straight to the meat of this thing. And so Nathan has helped me, and I've sort of tested this a whole bunch of times. What I'm going to do is going to go to politicalcompass.org. I'll just put this into the chat. Actually, I'm pretty good at this. All right. If you just follow that link right there, then we can all go to the same political compass and just get this bad boy rolling. I said bad boy. I've been hanging around Nathan just a little bit too much. All right, let's see if we can, I think there we are. And he said, you just hit share the screen, and there we go. Chrome, and there we are. Political compass, or compass, whatever you want to say. Let's see here. Okay, we got that. Okay, guys, so this is the test. I guess it's really popular. I've never taken a political test in my life before. I tend to consider myself a progressive, both politically and socially. So I just want to see where I stand. And Nathan I've talked with him a bunch of times, and he has some other friends he's talked about too. He once watched a guy by the name of, I think it was Ben Shapiro or something like that, take a political test online in real time or something like that. Maybe it wasn't live, I don't know. And so I thought, if I can add anything to this channel, it's to basically do that. And also here and there talk about my camera preferences, which I think are really appropriate to this subject. Okay, so anyway, we just go down and I'll read the top. Welcome. It is timely to stress the political compass has been on the internet since 2001. The uniqueness of our take on politics is reflected in the gratifyingly enthusiastic reviews we've enjoyed in the national media of many countries from our earliest years, as well as from many teachers and academics who continue to use our work. Read more about, no, we're not going to do that. So I just go down here, and there's a bunch of different faces, a couple that I like, a couple that I've never seen before, a couple that I might aspire to be. All right, let's take the test. Before taking this, listen, you guys are, this is going to be super, oh, you got another question. I still respect your thorough, minutious reviews. Differing politics don't bother me. Oh, I should probably post. Jube, this is not Nathan. This is his friend. I am a guest today. Like that. Okay, so Jude, please listen to me. And if you have any questions, definitely bring them up. Because one thing I don't want is for you to later come on and talk with, like if you're watching this stream, to talk with, or his stream in normal, to talk with Fauxtaku Lounge, Nathan. I don't want you to talk with him and get the idea through his chats or maybe his characterizations of progressives. I don't want you to get the idea that there's something they're not. So today you're going to be talking with a real progressive. All right? This is not Nathan. We look a lot alike, but it could just be because we're in Japan. And yes, it pains me to admit it, but I'm a white guy, and white guys in Japan look alike, and maybe you're just looking at us through, other glasses. Anyway, I'm just going to go back to the political test. If you have any questions, just please holler, or, whatever you call it. All right, anyway, before taking the test, please note that this isn't a survey, and these aren't questions. They're propositions. To question the logic of individual ones that irritate you is to miss the point. Some propositions are extreme, and some are moderate. That's how we show you whether you lean toward extremism or moderation on the compass. Your responses should not be overthought. Some of them are intentionally vague. Their purpose is to trigger reactions in the mind, measuring feelings and prejudices rather than detailed opinions and policy. Well, one thing I don't have is prejudice, for sure. I also dislike intentionally vague things, so this could be kind of a problem here. As far as triggering, I'm prepared for that, all right? Because I talked with Nathan, and let me just explain it this way, especially to Jube, or Jeb, whatever you want to be called. Nathan never has basically offered up his political take on anything, but I have the feeling that he's not quite as nuanced or progressive as I am, okay? Anyway, let's go. All right, political test. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. Absolutely. Strongly agree. All right. Yep. Not too happy about transnational corporations, to be very honest. I'd always support my country whether it was right or wrong. Strongly. I mean, what if you live in a country that's fascist? Strongly disagree. Strongly disagree. No one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. Again, what if your country is fascist? Yeah, strongly agree. Our race has many superior qualities compared. Can they actually say this? Our race has many superior qualities compared. Strongly disagree. No. Yeah, I don't want to. Nathan said to be careful about what you say about the three topics of race, sexuality, and something else. So just kind of, I'll move on. But strongly disagree. The enemy of my friend is the enemy of my enemy is my friend. The enemy of my. So that one guy who was one of those F-word guys on the street, the guy, I don't like him, and the guy that punched him was actually not a progressive, but he punched the guy that I really hate, so I agree. Just agree, not strongly. All right. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. No. I think that it's very important that we have an international consensus on things, so I strongly disagree with that. Yeah. Now, there's now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Absolutely. I mean, it's no. When you go on Facebook and Twitter and they show underneath the stupid opinions of certain people that this thing has been fact-checked or that there's some wonky information in it, that is important. I wish that happened on everything on the web. And if it happened enough, I hope that certain pages would just never show up to anyone. Okay, so I strongly agree with that. Okay, next page. Let's see here. Good. Okay, let's go on. Page 2 of 6. By the way, I can actually apply this to Fujifilm as well. Nathan has a way of sort of, how do I say this, simplifying the blog sphere, especially around Fujifilm, when it comes to Fujifilm. He says that when he first got into Fujifilm, what really worried him was the fact that there was a lot of blogs that were putting out information that wasn't quite correct. And I don't think that's correct, because all the people that were early on writing about the Fujifilm cameras were writing with every piece of information that they knew, including they didn't have full firmware, etc. So maybe they were making some jumps here and there in faith, but in the end, most of them, a lot of them probably, turned out to be correct. There was one claim, I think, that was made that was wrong, and I don't want to get into it, but basically it was all correct. And I think that Nathan is just talking out of his keister. Just so I don't want to, I can't use certain words, evidently, so I was going to use something else, begin with an A. But yeah, so whatever you hear that's positive about Fujifilm generally is correct. The stuff that's negative is obviously coming from trolls, and we know that they basically come from everywhere, whether that be in the political sphere, in the social sphere, in the camera sphere. This is obvious. There are a whole bunch of trolls, and none of the trolls. It's a rule, basically. Trolls don't do positive things. Trolls do only negative things. Okay, anyway, Nick, we're on the second page now. I just want to see if there's any comments. Let's see here. Political. Hey, I'm not Nathan. Victor. I was explaining this to Jube up there. I happen not to be Nathan. If you will notice, okay, what's with all these? Okay, maybe I'm gonna have to call in Nathan here, because just a moment. Okay, Victor. I don't know who you are, but I look like Nathan. It could be that you're just seeing stuff. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, glad that you're here. Whatever. Moonshine Graffiti. Where's Nathan? Who's this progressive turd? Okay, this is getting a little bit toxic. I'm just going to move on to the test. Okay. Maybe Nathan can listen. Victor. We look a lot alike, Nathan and I. If you'll notice, we sound different, though. Okay, anyway, here we are. Political compass. Okay, people are ultimately divided more by class than by nationality. By class than by nationality. So, how do you make this work? So, the class, there's still a set of things, classes. No, that would be like people that have either born in lots of money, because no one you're born in lots of money and you're born poor. It's basically a progression, not progressions, but it's oppression versus the oppressed, oppressive versus oppressed. And how do you work this out so it sounds progressive? I strongly agree. I think, yes. By the way, listen, I'm not like, I've read a little bit here and there, Communist Manifesto, obviously, Trotskyist pamphlets. Obviously, I do believe generally in sort of ultimate and ongoing revolution, generally. But I'm not a really read guy. Like Nathan, evidently, he's reading all this stuff that you're not supposed to read and whatever. I don't want to get into that. Anyway, controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. Controlling inflation. No, everyone should have a job, for sure. Absolutely. Wait, does that mean I disagree? So I said no, so I'm going to disagree, not strongly. You never know. I don't want to go extreme on any position necessarily. Definitely don't want to be extremist. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation. Absolutely. Regulation. Whenever there's regulation, it's just generally good to say strongly agree. Okay. And to be honest, that is a pretty progressive thing to do. Corporations didn't used to exist. They now exist. Regulate them. All right. From each according to his ability to each according to his need is a fundamentally good idea. I think I've read that in a Marxist pamphlet, so I would probably have to agree with that. To be honest, I don't know exactly what it means, but it's Marxist. I'm just going to go agree. I think that's all right. The freer the market, the freer the people. Now, I like to be, listen, I think a lot of you people who are not progressives may have the idea that progressives don't like free markets. But let me tell you one thing. If I had come to Japan 10 years ago or 20 years ago, where would I have bought my Frappuccino? Right? If I went into Starbucks or any coffee place, assuming there was coffee 20 years ago, where would I get the soy for the latte? If there's not a free market here, that basically means you're getting a lot of foreign companies in to do. Is that a good thing or bad thing? Yeah. Anyway, I'm free to have my frappuccinos. I agree with that. Okay. It's a sad reflection in our society that something as basic as drinking water is now bottle branded and consumer product. It's such a difficult question. I'll tell you why. I actually have a favorite brand of bottled water. It's not Designy. It's actually a local one. But if you had to have it out of like the tap, or you had to filter it yourself, I don't know about that. Drinking water. Plus, you don't have to drink water. It doesn't have enough electrolytes in it anyway. You don't have to have water. You can have tea. So you know what? I know that you guys might think that maybe a progressive might disagree with this, but I think you just haven't met enough disagrees here. Sorry, progressives here. Anyway, disagree. We're going to go down here. And if I get to the bottom of the page, I will just check quickly for any chats, and then we'll go on. And I'll address them. If there's, I don't want to hear any bad mouthing though from you guys. Land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. I agree. Should we all have access to it? I don't know. Some of that's a little bit cultural. I'm not so much. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, there's some cultures that have like shared land and had it for a long time, but I don't agree with those cultures because they're really European in the, the before multiculturalism, and they're a little bit, shall we say, it's a word that begins with R and it goes RACI, and then it goes on with an S and T, and I don't. Land, yeah. So I don't want to give any people free reign. This is a difficult question, actually. Land shouldn't be. You know what? I'm going to say it should be a commodity to be bought and sold. So I will say disagree, I guess. Wait, land shouldn't be a commodity. Agree. So agree. Wait, agree, disagree. Something like all these negatives. Land should, if I put, that cancels that. Okay, it is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. I agree with that, actually. Yeah, that's progressive. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. If you progress, if you're protecting anything, you're basically fascist. So the reason why I'm able to have my soy lattes here in Japan is because Japan doesn't protect their market. I can go anywhere in any city and I can get Nike, I can get Nike shoes, I can get my soy frappuccinos, I can't get an American car for some reason, but I can basically get a car, and cars didn't used to exist. It's great. I love protectionism is wrong. So I strongly disagree with this. It's nice to be able to come into Japan and not have to adapt to anything new. It's amazing. Maybe there's a little bit of language here, but everything's in English, and I very much like that I don't have to come to a very different country. And I hope that this expands more through the globe. I hope that I can go anywhere and just be like, this is as home as anywhere else. So strongly disagree. Yeah. The only social responsibility of company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. No, that doesn't make any sense. No, absolutely. Social should not be about profit. So only social responsibility of company should be delivered. I would disagree. I'm not going to strongly disagree with that, but I disagree with that for sure. The rich are too highly taxed. Disagree strongly. Like Bezos, what did he make? Like 13 billion last quarter or something like that? No, he should be taxed most of that. And you know what? I'm going to say possibly an unpopular opinion is that bankers, who we don't really talk about and that no one knows the wealth of, they should be taxed higher too. Okay. Those with the ability to pay should have higher access to... No, come on. No. All right. No, just stop it. Government should penalize businesses that mislead... Yes. So that goes for all those stupid blogs. Whoever's hosting them should be penalized for hosting bad information, especially about the thing that I think should be on all of our minds, which Nathan over there in the other room told me to take off the thing that was on my face, which, by the way, if you'll notice, has a 16 to 55 f2.8, and I call it hope, with 3 downward arrows. That's progressive. All right. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator motion. Yes. However, if you can, but what it, there's some trigger words here, aren't there? The free market really is kind of hard to sort of define. So I'm just going to say agree. And then we're just going to go over here and see if anyone's saying any questions. Okay, let's see here. Strongly agree. Racialist. Whoa, what's that? Anshe. Okay, we got some people here. Anshe Jing. Hi, what happened to your voice? Okay, listen, you're probably looking at the screen and thinking this is Nathan. It's not Nathan. I do have similar glasses. He and I have known each other for a little while, and amazingly, we have a similar taste in clothes and all that. Sartorial taste, by the way. That's how you say it. I'm not Nathan. I happen to be a progressive, who's called a Fujifilm Progressive, basically. So anyway, I'm not Nathan. Strongly agree. Racialist. What's that? What's going on here? All right. And let's move over here. Next page. Let's see here. Okay, here we are. Page 3 of 6. Now look at some of your personal social values. Abortion. When the woman's life is not threatened, should always be... I'm not supposed to say anything about this. I'm just supposed to write down. Should always be illegal. No, it should always be legal. Always. Nathan's not going to hear this. Okay, so guys, I think he's taking care of his daughter right now. Okay, so basically like this. My body, my choice. Okay, let's go on. All authority should be questioned. Strongly agree. Yep. Except for the ones that say my body, my choice, but whatever. An eye for an eye or tooth for tooth. Strongly disagree. You never know. The reason is this. You never know why a person has chosen the path or is on the path that they are. Maybe they made a choice. Maybe they were triggered by something. Maybe they are in circumstances they cannot really govern themselves. There's sociopolitical. I did have a little bit of soy before I came here, so a little bit possibly busy. There are socio-political and economic reasons that people are stuck making bad decisions, or maybe they're not even bad for them. I don't know, whatever. But I'm not going to get into that. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. Strongly disagree. Strongly disagree. The taxpayers, okay, theaters and museums, they are the showcases for our culture. And one thing that I've really enjoyed is to be able to come all the way to Japan and see that similar theaters and similar museums are basically over here too. It's really nice that our culture is shared around the world in such a beautiful way. I don't have to do a lot of adapting to a new culture of people. It's really great. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. This is a hard question because what if they're part of a fascist system? But let's just say they're not, because I don't think that would happen. Schools should not, classrooms should be mandatory, absolutely. Schools should not make, so I disagree with this pretty strongly, actually. Okay, all people have their rights, but it's better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. This seems like a pretty racialist thing to say. Pardon me, just guys. Nathan told me to press this button if I have to make escape wind from my windpipes. Just a moment. That was... Whose beer is that? Looks like Nathan left his beer. Don't tell him, okay? Oh, that's strong. Okay. All people have their rights, but it's better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep... No. Okay. Imagine if Japan just kept to its own. Would it have soy latte frappuccinos? No, it wouldn't. Would it have American cinema? No. Would it have blue jeans? No. Would it have lace-up shoes? No. Would it have lighting equipment like this? Would it have cameras? Would there be swimming pools? No. So absolutely, it's great that no one should have. No, it's great that we're all able to share the same things exactly. Yeah, so strongly disagree with this. So no, strongly disagree. Good parents sometimes have to. That hand should never be raised to anyone ever, unless it's Richard Spencer. Okay, so strongly disagree. It's natural for children to keep some secrets from. Yes. You are basically an individual. There's no reason why you should tell your parents basically anything, as far as I'm told. If you're right in front of them and you're telling them something, like they ask you something directly, yeah, sure, maybe tell them the truth then. But otherwise, no, it's your body and your choice. So it's yes, strongly agree with that. Yep. Possessing marijuana probably shouldn't. don't know if I can say this. Can I say this? It's also in Japan. Possessing. I don't, by the way. I don't, and I'm pretty sure Nathan doesn't at all. I guess probably a better way to say it. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. I strongly agree. Yep. Okay. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future. Yes. Wait. What? Oh, to find jobs. I thought it meant to basically tell them what the culture should be and how they should think, or what they should think about their position in the. Oh, I'm just gonna sort of disagree about that, because you should obviously be able to find a job. I took post-colonial literature. By the way, Nathan did too, and so I should have a job. Yeah, you know what? Just a second here. I should be able to find a job in post-colonial literature, and so should every single person that took that subject. Feminist dance class? Absolutely, you should be able to find a job. Theater? Yes. Even the woman that went on the stage and pooped in a bucket and screamed, there should be something there for her because it's unique. And we don't have enough uniqueness in the world. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. Yeah, I do have a problem. Now, the whole reproduction thing, I got to be honest here. I'm a little bit. I do sort of believe that no one should bring a child into this world. It's a disgusting place, especially with all the fascists and stuff out there. But if you do decide to have a child, you're probably a fascist though. If you do decide to have a child, people with serious, you know what? I'm just going to disagree with this because I think probably shouldn't touch this on Nathan's channel. Okay. The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. That is disgusting. No, my body, my choice. Strongly disagree with that. No, they should learn to accept themselves, not discipline, for sure. Gosh. There are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. Absolutely. But some cultures don't have Starbucks soy frappuccinos, so whatever, I mean, eventually you have to address that point. Anyway, okay, let's go on. There are those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society support. But what if you disagree with the society you're in? What if the society is fascist? Are you just expected to die? No. You got to be able to stand and fight. And the only way to be able to stand and fight is to, you have to have sustenance, So those who are able to work and refuse should not expect society. Strongly disagree. Gosh. Okay. When you're troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. I don't even know what that means, to be honest. What cheerful things are there? You have, in my country, you have right-wingers trying to steal the election. In Canada, you basically have people disagreeing with the international consensus. In Japan, there's not a Starbucks down the street, and they don't let in enough refugees or multicultural people. So, what cheerful things? Strongly disagree. First-generation immigrants can never be fully integrated. There's no reason to integrate. I'm here, I'm drinking my cappuccino, and that should have been there before I came, or before I was alive, whatever. One thing that a lot of non-progressives think is that progressives are anti-capitalist. No. We're definitely, without capitalism, I wouldn't have my soy frappuccino. First generation, I strongly disagree with this because you don't need to integrate. It's nuance, whatever. What's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimate goodly. Had a little bit too much soy. Sorry about that. What's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us. It depends. Is that corporation fascist? Or are they, Starbucks and they have soy frappuccinos? And one thing I've noticed about soy frappuccinos is they make everyone just a little bit calmer. The more, you do have to work out a little bit more, but I would disagree with this. Disagree a little bit because there is Starbucks. Okay. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. Strongly disagree with that. Do I? What if you're in a fascist country? You know what? There's always that question. You always have to ask, what if you're in a fascist country? So I disagree with that. Okay. Now we'll just go back to StreamYard and see if anyone's here. Okay, cool. North Korea says hi. Oh, your voice. Hi. The audio is weird. Strongly agree. The audio is weird. Viritus of Viratives of Livzania. Don't know who you are. Never seen you before. By the way, you may not have noticed if you came late. I'm not Nathan. I'm a guy, evidently, who looks a little bit like Nathan. No idea why. Martin, whoever you are. I do have an interesting voice. A lot of people have said that I sound like a progressive Ben Shapiro. And you know what? I do not consider that a compliment. However, I think that in an argument, like in a debate, I would flatten him. All right, let's go on. Political compass test. All right, next page. By the way, if you want to ask any questions about Fujifilm and what my position, I'll start to throw in a little bit more. Nathan was sending me a text message on my hello Siri. Okay. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. There's no such thing as terrorism. So agree, basically. Yep. Like for instance, I went into Starbucks and they were like, why? Oh no, they asked me if I had a mask on. Yep. Of course I did. They asked another guy, that's not terrorism. All right. The significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system. Why do they keep bringing up questions like this? This is rubbish. I'll tell you why I don't like this question. Because, yes, technically that's true, but then you would basically remove our democratic privileges, which my body, my choice. So you shouldn't have to agree with some sort of overwhelming state. So, however, if you're in a fascist state, that's bad. But if you're not in a fascist state, that's authoritarian, one party might be all right. So I don't know. I'm actually going to agree with this. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be aware. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Unless you're in a fascist state. Okay. Okay, agree. Just agree. All right. The death penalty should be an option for most serious crimes. They're trying to catch you here because basically I go back to 2 points. What if you're in a fascist state? 1, and 2, my body, my choice. And I don't choose to be death penalty or killed. So, yeah. Strongly disagree with that. Especially if you're in a fascist country. Like, what then? Then you would just be killed anyway because it's fascist. All right. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. That sounds fascist. I strongly disagree with that. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all. That sounds like a fascist wrote that. Somebody with a small mustache. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered. Strongly disagree. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. My body, my choice, and I choose to be rehabilitated rather than punished. So strongly disagree. It's a waste of time to try to rehabilitate some criminals. Now, again, my body, my choice. I choose to be rehabilitated, and assuming society can meet all the needs that I have for my socio-economic status, as well as assuming that this isn't a fascist state, then I would completely disagree with this. So strongly disagree. No, everyone can be fixed or whatever. And maybe the problem isn't them. Maybe the problem is you. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. I happen to be a writer and an artist, and I've noticed that people out there building bridges, companies, I should say, or skyscrapers, happen to have people know their names more than they know mine. I'm surprised that people here still think that I'm Nathan, which is just... All right, so I'm just going to disagree. I don't want to strongly disagree. You got to be careful to strongly disagree. You don't want to do it too often. Mothers may have careers, but they're first to get out. My body, my choice. There's no such thing as duty. Disgusting. Disgusting. Multinational companies are ethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. I'll just say probably, yeah, for sure. Unless they, those developing countries get Starbucks, in which case, they will have a soy frappuccino. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. Again, you just always, basically, if they're fascist, if your establishment is fascist, then no. Absolutely not. So you don't make peace with fascists. You punch them in the face. Nathan didn't hear that. He said, "Don't talk about violence." I mean, in Minecraft, making peace. I strongly disagree. All right, let's go back to Streambar. See if anyone has any questions. I'm trying to figure out whose expense this joke is. Your name is Fjolnir? Not a joke. Okay, political compass. All right, let's go next page. I think we have just one more page. 2 more pages. Okay, guys, and then let's talk a whole bunch of Fuji. I want to start Fujiing up here. Okay, astrology accurately explains many. No. If it's not, basically, if you can't describe reality, which is material, ultimately, through material means it's pointless. Astrology is basically mumbo jumbo. So I strongly, yes, I'm going to go strongly. Fine, disagree. Okay, you cannot be moral without being religious. Again, interesting here. No, I would think absolutely it's the religious people that are the most amoral or immoral. No, not amoral, immoral. Who is the one killing people? It's the religious. Who's the one imposing sanctions on people that basically take away their right for my body, my choice? It's the religious. No. The religious people are by far the most immoral. So I strongly disagree with that. No. It should say you cannot be moral without being anti-theist. And I would say strongly agree. Okay. Charity is better than Social Security as a means of helping the generally disadvantaged. And what charity would actually help those people? What charity would help those people? I mean, I've heard some non-progressives say that like the IMF and the UN, all these people are basically taking money from the taxpayers and giving them in one way or another, either by moving the people or whatever. They're doing that, and that is somehow like charity. But I think that's just a real fascist way of looking at things. So no, strongly disagree. Absolutely, the generally disadvantaged need to have a strong social security mechanism. Absolutely. Some people are naturally unlucky. No, I think that luck has everything to do with where you're born, to whom you're born, and in which way they're being oppressed or being raised up. So strongly disagree with that. Absolutely. It's important that my child's school instills religious values. Strongly disagree. No school should have any sort of connection with religion. Absolutely none. Ever. Never. Not at all. Okay. And that was a short page, but I'm just going to check over here. Okay, let's see here. The political compass back here. Well, finally, this is the last page. Finally, look at sex. Want to be careful here. You never know where you're going to go. Sex outside marriage is usually immoral. Wait, what? Usually? It's interesting. It's a very nuanced word to use. I strongly disagree with that. Sex should be natural. Not going to get into age, but it's natural. Just say that. A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship cannot be excluded from them. Absolutely not. Cannot be excluded. Right. Strongly agree. They should be able to adopt as many kids as young as possible, etc. No problem. Pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for yes, of course. I mean, how else? I shouldn't get into that. All right. What goes on in the private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. Strongly agree. Now, I have heard, again, I don't even think I could call them a conservative. They were farther right than that. Someone say that basically if you have a state that is so laissez-faire, that it doesn't matter anything sexual, that basically it will somehow incentivize not having kids, and then you'll somehow in other words, like basically incentivize immigration. And of course, they're being a fascist, and so they don't like immigration of any sort. And I just have to, that's rubbish. No. My body, my choice. No one can feel naturally, these are just horrible questions. Of course they can. I strongly disagree with that. Of course they can. Yeah. My body, my choice. I'm not sure how that would, if that would connect here. What would you see? These are a little bit, these days, openness about sex has gone too far. Strongly disagree. We are sexual creatures from the time you're, you know what? Let's just, Nathan said not to, this last page, not to talk too much. Okay, let's see, guys. If anyone, listen, I do see a couple people in the chat here. Martin, whoever you are, it sounds like some of you people, audio is weird. Okay. What happened to your voice? Yeah, okay. Some of you people think I'm Nathan. All right. 2020 hasn't changed you. Okay, interesting. If you have any questions before I click the button, we're going to find out sort of what my results are. I've never taken this test, like I said, sorry. And what I think is that I'll come out, I don't know, there's 4 quadrants. I've seen like just faces there. I'm thinking, I have a very nuanced take. So my guess is that if they put me in any one quadrant, it's not going to really make a lot of sense because there's really a lot of factors in play. But I'm still interested to see it. All right, here we go, guys. Now let's see where you stand. Boom. About the political compass. In the introduction, we explained inadequacies of the traditional left-right line. If we recognize that this is essentially an economic line, it's fine as far as it goes. We can show, for example, Stalin, Mao Zedong, and Pol Pot with their commitment to totally controlled economy on the hard left. Hard left? Never thought of that. Okay, hard. All right, fine. Socialists like Mahatma Gandhi and Robert Mugabe would occupy a less extreme leftist position. Margaret Thatcher would be well over to the right, but further right still would be someone like that ultimate free marketer, General Pinochet. That deals with the economics, but the social dimension is also important in politics. That is the one that the mere left-right scale doesn't adequately address. So we've added one ranging in positions from extreme authoritarian to extreme libertarian. This is a lot to read. Okay, listen, you know what? Let's not read all that stuff. But here, you can see on this here. Can you guys still see this? Hopefully you can still see this. It's important that you see this here. Authoritarian shows Stalin up there on the upper left. Fascism, it shows Hitler to the middle on the authoritarian side, and then Thatcher to his right. Interesting. I always thought she was quite a fascist. And then we have the far right. On the libertarian side, we have Friedman. Freudian slip. Freud, good guy, in a way. Anyway, then we Gandhi down there in the libertarian Gandhi side, or left side. That's another Freudian slip. Okay. A word about neocons and neo-libs. This might be interesting. I just scrolling down here. Let's see here. U.S. neoconservatives, with their commitment to high military spending, fascist, and the global assertion of national values, fascist, tend to be more authoritarian than hard right. By contrast, neoliberals opposed to such moral leadership, and more specifically, the issuing demands on the taxpayer, belong to a further right but less authoritarian, well, opposed to such moral leadership, and more especially the ensuing demands on further right, less authoritarian regime. Paradoxically, the free market in neocon parlance allows the large-scale subsidy of the military-industrial complex a considerable degree of corporate welfare and protectionism when deemed in the national interest. These are viewed by neolibs as impediments to the unfettered market. Oh gosh, this is a lot of... here we are. Your political compass shows me economic left-right minus 4.88 and social libertarian authoritarian minus 7.38. It looks on this thing, I am a deep libertarian kind of leftist. I don't see on this scale where it says progressive. That was kind of what I was looking for. I was looking for a sort of progressive and non-progressive scale. Nathan tricked me to coming in here, I guess, in a way. But anyway, I don't know. Is that, how do you guys, if you guys took the test, how do you guys show on this? Here, let's see if there's a question here. Let's see here. We have this guy called Viriataviz of Liviz Zidania. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Good job hacking Nathan's channel, Fujifilm Progressive. Thank you. Thank you. You're from the government. Okay, well, that's cool. I don't know which government you're from exactly, but as long as you're not from a fascist government, and as long as I guess if I look at this score, if you're from a libertarian and left government, then that's real cool. Really cool, I should say. Hanging out with Nathan a lot. He says real like that without adding the ly. I don't know why you can't do adverbs. I have a feeling he's on the right. Those guys can't use adverbs. Okay, if you guys have any questions about sort of politics, I'd be very, very happy to sort of talk about them. If not, then I would like to talk about Fujifilm. Progressiveness is measured by how much soy you consume. You know what? I know for sure, Jube, that you're using that in some sort of derisive manner, but I don't see a problem with soy. And Nathan, evidently, he said when I came over that he's never seen so much soy in the house at one time. And I said, I just brought over 2 liters, and he's like, I didn't know there was so much in the world, but whatever. Yeah, if you want to say that, I don't disagree. But I think we're right, and I think that if you are being derisive in that comment, that's a little bit unfair. Does anyone have any more sort of questions here? I'm from the government of the United Soy. Okay, you guys are. I see you're kind of, as the English say, taking a piss. I'm not sure about that. Some soy. There we are. This is a very nuanced take here. Jub says some soy-based drinks are tasty. Okay, so there we have. This is good. By the way, so I was talking with Nathan before they had dinner. By the way, I'm pretty sure there was soy in that dinner. It was good. It was really good. There was also a tiny little bit of meat, and I'm not sure about that. It's, I haven't had meat in several years. By the way, I think I share that in common with Ben Shapiro. Anyway, some soy drinks, all soy drinks, soy-based drinks are very tasty. Absolutely. Also, I'm surprised that no one's asked me about my hat. No one's asked me about my hat, by the way. Just take a look at her. Especially now, I think this is a very clever hat. Obviously, no one's talked about it, so whatever. But think about it this way, guys. I am a Fujifilm supporter. If there's sort of a political scale or what is this called, political compass scale version of Fujifilm support, I would be. Wait, how would you do it on this? I hate to say it this way, but I would be a super hard fascist for Fujifilm. I don't know why Nathan calls me the Fujifilm Progressive. I guess it's not even a play on words, stupid. He should say Fujifilm fascist, because there is one camera company in the world, and it is the Fujifilm line of cameras. And why? Oh, got a question here. Jib, what is the X in X-Her? I don't think you're exactly acquainted with Fujifilm. Okay, so there is the X line, as you know. That would be the XT, XH, or sorry, XH, X Pro, X M, XA, all those different ones. And you could, and I've heard Nathan say this, you say the GFX, there's an X in that, so that's part of the X line. Well, I don't know about that. But basically, the X, if you notice to see XH, so there's a couple different lines basically put in here. There's an XH line and an XE line, but I'm not going to say who I voted for in 2016, but it wasn't Donald Trump, and I do stand with her, or I'm with her. So it's kind of a play on a whole bunch of things, and very, very clever, I think. Anyway, so tell me your questions about Fujifilm. I will say this, coming this far and going through this political test and basically calling into question Nathan's use of progressive in my name, I think everyone should be using Fujifilm cameras. Everyone who's a considered photographer, everyone who's actually thinking about photography as more than just a means to get a new thing in their hands. The reasons are very clear. One, sorry, I'll do it like this. One, Fujifilm's cameras are compact. Two, and this is a weird thing maybe for me to say, and this may, I agree that this might be a little bit fascist, that Fujifilm cameras adhere to a sort of stylistic design, I guess, that adheres to the past. And it maybe doesn't make light of the past, but it basically sublimates the past. And because of that, you have more of a connection with them. Absolutely for that. Absolutely for that. And we have another question here. Moonshine Graffiti, how many votes did you put? Oh, okay, I see. Okay, we have a fascist here in the comment section. Okay, Moonshine Graffiti, there is no such thing. You people on the right are conspiracy theorists. This was a fair election, no matter, and okay, there was election tampering many times throughout history, and why is it that it wasn't such a big thing? Or maybe it was, maybe you've forgotten about it. It's happened all the time, okay? So I voted once. Okay, anyway, back to Fujifilm. Let me just pick up Nathan's camera here. Again, he said that he cleaned it off really well, so I don't have to worry about germs. But just look at this. If you saw this thing from a distance, you would think, and again, if you saw this thing and you weren't used to like the modern digital camera, you might think that this thing is a film camera. And there's one thing that I really like, and I think there's one thing that we should all basically sort of expect, and I think as maybe not as photographers, but one thing that I value, and that is people should have a different opinion of you when they look at you from what you actually feel. Yes, you could say that's sort of a weird, it's a weird sort of construation, I think is the word, of nuance. So your nuance side, again, well, I could bring up, what's that ogre story? A Shrek? It's like an onion. Everyone's got layers. And my layer is this. You see me, and you see me holding this camera, and you're like, that's a film camera. And I'm like, inside, I'm like, nope. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I happen to hold a digital camera. Look at the back. You just can't. That's precious. That's totally precious. That this camera basically hides or perhaps subverts your expectations. And subversion, I think, subversion is important, especially when you want to get something done. You have to put effort into it, and subverting something does take a lot longer than directly head-on attacking it. So if I were to if someone came in, let's say a new company, let's say it's not Panasonic, let's call Ultrasonic. If there was a company called Ultrasonic and they came in and they were designing a camera and they just went ground up and looked exactly like and functioned exactly like a film camera, except that it had inside was like digital guts, I guess. You put in a card or whatever. What would sort of, I guess that would be ultimately subversive, wouldn't it? Because you would actually think it's a film camera until you can put film in it. So that's pretty hardcore. That's based, I think that's like really based in a left-wing perspective or a progressive perspective. So that kind of ruined my example. But this camera looks like an SLR, a digital SLR, and people on the street, they see that and they're like, they can, it just connects them, and for me too. And I hear some people, okay, Nathan is always like, Nathan, he's like, you can't choose your shutter speed exactly, like directly. You never know. Like if you haven't disabled this dial here, then you have no idea what shutter speed's actually in. And I'm like, as long as it looks about if it looks like 1,000, even if it's shooting at 1/1/500th, you can raise or lower things afterwards. So I don't see the problem. I think he's too much of a fascist. He's too much of a fascist when it comes to this sort of thing. I call myself Fujifilm fascist. I don't know what he calls me. Whatever. All right. Let's see. I would have been concerned. This is another question from Jube. Interesting name. The phonics on that are a little weird. Also, the gematria on that might be. Let's see here. I don't have time for that. But there's 91. There's an 88. Something's going on there. Okay. I would have been concerned if the dot was in the far top left. Far top left. Who was up there? I can't remember. Was that Stalin and stuff? Those. You know what? I probably shouldn't talk about what I think about Stalin. At least he got the trains on time. That's common knowledge, right? Okay. Why don't they have a device that converts film cameras to digital, like a universal digital back? They do. It's called it. I'm back, I think. Here, let's check it out. Digital film back. I'm back, I think. Check it out. You've probably been in, let's see. You're obviously, you wrote konnichiwa, so you've probably been in Japan for a little while. But let me, here we are. Like that. Here we are. Check it out. I'm back. Click that link and you'll see that there is a universal digital back for film cameras. Very cool. Okay. Fellow citizen, extra subversive for calling themselves Sonic. I don't know what you mean by that. Sonic. Give me a hint here. Give me a little bit of a hint. I'm confused here, and that's fine. Not everyone. Maybe that's your niche of nuance. I'm in a different niche, or niche, however you say it. I prefer the nuanced pronunciation niche over niche. Just what it is. But there's revolutionary Stalin and there's paranoid. Yeah, absolutely. And obviously it's absolutely revolutionary. Had just a little bit too much soy milk. A little bit too much, a little bit strong. Plus there was a sip of beer. By the way, Nathan's beer is still here. I'm just gonna have a sip. Oh, strong stuff. Oh, ultrasonic. Example you just gave. Ultrasonic. There's something there. I'm missing it. I don't really know what it is. But fellow citizen, you'll have to be a little bit more blunt with me there. Anyway, yeah. So the other reasons that Fujifilm are really great, and again, it's a subversive thing, and that is this: you have a digital camera that looks like a film camera that's totally digital, that does have just a couple things you have to learn, and inside are those JPEG film simulations. I think Chelsea Northrup called them profiles, something like that. She pretended to be a Fujifilm person. That was subversive, by the way, but she shouldn't have done that in a review. These are film simulations, and there's going on like 20 now, and they are so good. You have a digital camera, and fine, the film simulations that it makes are not exactly one-to-one to the film, those JPEGs, but they come out in a way using Fujifilm that no other camera, even using raw manipulations, can replicate, especially straight from the body. It's incredible, and no one else does it. There's also the thing, Fujifilm are, and this is very progressive, they are a true minority in the industry. Now, they're not a complete, tiny, insignificant portion like Leica, or maybe in Panasonic. I understand they have about 5% of the market. And that 5% that they wield is incredibly powerful. In fact, it's quite a bit like, throughout history, there's been some very powerful, very influential, tiny minorities of people that have changed entire histories of entire countries, entire nations, entire continents. And Fujifilm may not be as powerful as these sort of minorities that are basically able to, you could say, subvert a nation's history or a country's history, or let's say a politic of a nation, but they certainly are able to make you think that your digital camera is a digital camera with an analog soul, or it might even make you think that you are a film photographer who just happens to be using digital, even without you having ever used film. I think there's something in there. There's a subversive element there that's powerful. And I'm not saying that subversion is good, but when it's wielded well, you can have a tiny minority that just basically, they can wield whatever power they want. And as long as they do it well, they can change your mind on things. And so that's not Fujifilm right now, or maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe we have, Kaizen's something I just can never stop talking about. So Kaizen, some people say that Leica have a longer history with Kaizen. No, Fujifilm, they didn't define the word, they didn't invent the word, but they have completely embodied the word. So no one else brings out a camera and then that fine. Some of the cameras, it's like this should have had all these features to begin with, and 2 years later, it's like it feels like a complete package. But they get you before the camera is actually ready, and you buy it because it looks like a film camera. And no, the autofocus is behind, and it's not as fast and this and that, and it's missing some features, etc. But 2 years later, you're holding on to that camera because you know that they're gonna get that firmware in there, and it's just gonna transform this thing, and it does. And 2 years later, you are looking at all the people that basically push-booed your brand and your camera for the longest time. You're like, no, this thing now stands up. Not only does it stand up to your A7 III, it stands up, doesn't make your finger bleed, and it has those amazing film simulations. So, I mean, gosh. All right. Oh, we got some comments here. Fellow citizen, ultrasonic example you just gave. You're still, camera equals photonic. Oh, that's good. That's good. And then we got Drugger. Is the audio strange? No. Okay, you may be new. Living a Dream, you may also be new. I don't know. Fellow citizen, Sigma are also, okay, that's Living the Dream. This sucks. You suck. Listen, Nathan's not here to tell me that I can't say this stuff. You suck. All right. Drugger, is the audio strange? I don't know if you've been here before. I just came in. Nathan said that I can come in and basically do the political compass test and then talk about Fujifilm for everyone who's on his channel. Fortunately, or maybe unfortunately, his channel itself is pretty small. And because of that, I don't have to worry about like who's going to dox me, So anyway, I do look a little bit like Nathan. I agree with that. But my name is I'm not going to say my name, but I am known as now the Fujifilm Progressive. When very honestly, I as far as it regards Fujifilm, I'm a fascist for Fujifilm. In life, though, I'm super progressive. If you'll see my results on the test, I'm bottom left libertarian. Okay, let's see here. Sigma are doing interesting things with foveonic simulations with Bayer. Okay, I have to basically lay down the law here. Fellow citizen, there's no one out there that's doing anything really as cool as Fujifilm. Okay, fine. The foveon stuff, yep, 3-layer sensor, that sounds pretty cool, but isn't it a lot easier and in its own way, while it's not, well, it's definitely more discreet, but it's also, what's the word? It's always so hard with these. I've never done one of these live streams before. Thank you, Nathan, I suppose. His channel's never going to be the same after this. Because, there's 5 people watching. Whatever. All right. But how to describe it? Yes, a single layer sensor is more discreet. Sure. Doesn't take up as much room. Doesn't need to be heated, etc. Those triple layer stuff, they can give more interesting color and maybe more resolution, so they say. But it's so much more expensive, and we've not seen, they're so far beyond in the noise and the ISO range and all that I think at this point you're basically hoping for a camera that does a really good job at ISO 100 that only works in the studio, but it has to stand up against the GFX, and that's just, you can't stand up against the GFX. As you heard, if you went, by the way, if you want to go, we can go to Fuji Rumors. By the way, I don't know if there's a way to here. We'll just put this here. We can, this is my, it shows it as Fauxtaku Lounge right now. This is totally subversive. So I guess forever, now this is going to go for Fauxtaku Lounge's political compass test. I don't know how he rates, but Nathan, but basically we're going to go over here and let's go to Fuji Rumors. Check this out. Fuji Rumors. Smaller GFX 100 will have IBIS coming early 2021. Okay, you guys know what IBIS is. That's in-body image stabilization. Now, that Fujifilm has a massive GFX medium format sensor that totally blows away full frame. There's no comparison. I hope Nathan's not listening, but there are people Nathan has said stuff like full frame. The GFX is not much better than full frame. This is lie. This is wrong. The GFX totally blows it away. You can look at, fine, you can go to deep review and all that, and they show that there's only like 5% difference in favor of the GFX, but they're not understanding the tonality. When you get the picture in front of you, there's no way. It's not even close. You can get the highest resolution full frame sensor, which I think is the Sony A7R4, I think, and that's 61 megapixels. You compare that even next to the GFX at 50S, at 50 megapixels, there's no. It's not the same. And then you add another 50 megapixels to that, plus IBIS, plus a bigger body and bigger battery, and like $5,000 or more. No. One of those is a serious camera, and one of those is a Sony. And I think that's the best way to say it. That's the best way to say it. We'll scroll down here. Basically, so I think you could basically expect something like a GFX 50S size body, or maybe even smaller, but the guts of the GFX 100. And that's just going to completely blow away everything. Here's a question, another question by Jub. Jube sounds good. Is Fujifilm the only progressive camera? How about Olympus? You know what's interesting? The reason why I'm even on this channel, it's not because Nathan met me at a church and I asked who he voted for. We got to chatting, and Nathan, listen, we may agree with things, disagree with things on a whole bunch of things, but he trusts me enough to give me a couple of his essays, and he's writing a 3 or 4 part essay that I think he said he's going to try to put up on his channel, and it's about mirrorless versus DSLR, and he actually talks about subversive camera companies or something like that. And I don't want to give away too much, but you know what? I think that Olympus, did he talk about it as a progressive or a subversive company? I can't remember, but one of those words is made into the essay about Olympus. So look forward to that, I guess. Yeah. So I don't know if that's a yes or a no. I would put it probably as a possibly. Fujifilm are obviously, listen, I don't think companies can be, companies that have a specific design goal, I don't think that they can actually be progressive. And this is sort of the paradigm, not the paradigm, this is, what's, getting the word things, it's kind of confusing. Paradox. Paradox is the word. The paradox is this. I test on the bottom left-hand side, which is essentially, libertarian, progressive, I guess, whatever. But when it comes to cameras and things that I really like, I'm extremely conservative. Which, yeah, I know but I think everyone is that way. In fact, to take a nuanced stack, let's put it this way. A nuanced take. The most progressive person on the planet is conservative about the thing that they love. And so I guess you could say that I'm conservative about, social democracy, or basically my body, my choice, completely progressive about all that stuff. Conservative about that sort of thing. So I don't know exactly how to put that in better terms. But about Fujifilm, no, they should not be progressive. They should jealously guard the things that they've designed, they should jealously guard their way of doing things. And their user base agrees with that. No matter how they may pretend to be, conservative or liberal, otherwise, they happen to be a very, in their own way, a fascist company. And they're focused on protecting their design aesthetic, on their interface aesthetic, their JPEGs and all that. And in fact, they don't even allow, and this is kind of weird, the one complaint I have about Fujifilm is that some of those firmware updates that can be applied to older cameras that have the same hardware as newer cameras are not applied to them. And so what happens is you don't have feature parity between all these cameras that could have it. And so that's kind of a shame. But I guess that's, in its own way, sort of, and I'm fine saying this word, a fascist thing to do for a company, but they are protecting what's theirs, and I think that's very important. Yeah. So that's how I would answer that. Yeah. All right, I'm just gonna steal a little bit more beer. Oh, that packs a punch. Oh my. Yeah. Anyway, ran out of soy here. So I found out, by the way, that Nathan is selling his Fujifilm stuff. I don't know if you can see over here, he used to have a GFX over here on the camera stand. Right now it's just a lens cap on the back of a Novaflex bellows camera. Anyway, his GFX is gone. He did a really good job. You know what? I'll admit he's a better photographer than me. Fine. But I think I'm a much better social commentator than him, and that's why I'm here today. Anyway, he got rid of that, and he's telling me he's getting rid of his XT3. And he showed me a video he did showing an old Canon doing a better job focusing low light. And it's like, yeah, but in good light, are you always shooting in low light? Who shoots in low light that often? And he's like, what about wedding photographers? I'm like, well, but usually in weddings, there's some sort of point light that's direct, you know? And he's like, yes. However, if the camera can't really focus in sort of a midway between light, that it's not going to do a really good job when it really counts. And he did show me the XT3 with the new firmware, and it really, really fell behind like the 5D4. And I don't know how to answer that really, because Fujifilm, yes, they're a great company or camera to use for weddings. I mean, I assume they're the Mullins. Mullins does some great work with Fujifilm, and there's a whole bunch of other photographers that do. And they're not. Yes, there are dark times to weddings, but they're not all that way. But basically, the proof is in the pudding, and the pudding that comes out of these Fujifilm cameras is pretty good. It's very good, in fact. And so even if it can't focus as fast as a 5D4 or in the central portion, and I'm not sure if Nathan was even telling the truth here, against a 5D2, it does the job well enough. So let's see here. Soy beer. Oh, okay. What's going on here? Just a moment, guys. I'm going to press a button here. Okay, something's going here. The form factor has implications even when the sensor chip combo is alike. Okay, what are we talking about here, fellow citizen? Sigma are also doing interesting things with Foveon. Okay, we're talking about Foveons. Okay, the form factor has implications even when the sensor chip combo is alike. Yep, no, yes, absolutely. So I did mention, and this is another kind of point that's a little bit contentious with my own understanding of things. I happen to be evidently a libertarian on the left, the deep left, I guess. However, and I think that if you're honest, that should entail irreligiousness or atheism. However, I think there is sort of, and maybe there's a way to describe it in a sort of materialistic sense, but there seems to be some sort of intangible, that's a good word, an intangible relationship between certain pieces of hardware and a person. And maybe there's even something between people, maybe. And if Sam Harris talks about consciousness, maybe there's something with consciousness, I don't know. But there's always a material explanation to it. Maybe we haven't just found it yet, fine. But the Fujifilm cameras, when I pick one up, what my hand wraps around transfers something to my heart that is not felt when I pick up a Canon or a Nikon. Right. So that's what I say. Moonshine graffiti, soy beer. Who is this guy? I wish I had a mod. Get rid of this graffiti guy. Okay. Does Earl above lead where I think at least this is from McBalaban? He's probably like a McDonald's guy who plays a balaba or something like that. The link goes to my political results. If we're about to enter a new dark age, then low light may become very... That's a good joke, actually. New dark age. That is a good joke. By the way, I was reading Nathan's recent essay, which he says that he'll probably do it next week or something like that, publish it on this channel. He actually talks a little bit about dark ages. I completely disagree with him. This is kind of weird. This is one of the first times I ever heard it. He actually disagrees with the Enlightenment, just to tell you that. I think that's there. I know you're not allowed to say it on YouTube, but that is a little bit, and I'm going to spell it out, R-E-T-A-R, and then you can figure out where that goes after that. I don't think that's a word you should ever use toward people, unless, of course, they're fascist. That's fine. But not toward humans, for sure. Never use that toward another human. Again, fascists are different. Doesn't matter. And maybe fascist ideas are the same thing. So that is R-E-T-A-R, whatever. All that, basically. For me, I'm basically saying that Nathan has some ideas that begin with an R, and then you spell out that. And maybe you'll see them next week. And you might say that I'm trying to poison the well before the essay actually comes out, but no, I'm not doing that. No, I wouldn't do that. I want you to hear that essay from a very pure and I should say naive point of view, where no one's led you to any position beforehand, but his positions in that essay are, his grammar's okay, and some of his language is okay. It's a little bit too flowery. It's kind of weird, but he's definitely, whatever. Okay. Henry Cartier-Bresson was an anarchist. Yes, he may have been. He was outside shooting with a camera, really cool stuff that is sort of gone on in the future. And if you're not, anarchy is not tied to a specific time, and those ideas, they go throughout time. It ends in an interesting place. Does it? Did it? Political compass? How do I can show that. That's cool. Did it go to an interesting place? Let me see. Did it go here? McBellan? Whoever you are? Is this the interesting place that it ended? Hopefully that's where it went. I thought that's where I linked to. Well, if I get Nathan's channel in trouble, that's his fault. In the chat, right. Well, maybe. I'm hoping that all this is very interesting. One thing that not enough people have done, especially here in the world of photography, is link politics and photography. One thing that I think all of us need to, especially in current year, is that we need to realize that not only is the private political, but the hobby is political. And people talk about, there'll be like a new ad for this company or that company, and it'll have some progressive or anti-progressive message. And people either comment on the progressive one or not, and they don't understand that they're reacting to politics because they have some sort of political baseline. And you can't get mad at one side or the other without being stuck in mode. And I just want people to realize that. Yeah. Anyway, J Graffer TH is a voice filter on purpose. Voice filter. I don't know what you're talking about. You're probably another person that thinks that I'm Nathan. I'm not Nathan. I'm not going to tell you my name. I don't want to dox myself. Again, it doesn't matter. His channel's so small. It's not like no one's gonna find out. But I'm not Nathan. Just in Japan, unfortunately, I'm a white guy. I look like from a certain perspective, I look like other white guys. So yeah, I look like Nathan. Yeah. He just, fellow citizen, he described himself expressly as an anarchist, and this was the philosophical basis for Magnum Inc. Yes. I've never read that. But I have the understanding. If I read it, I would understand it for sure, though. For sure, yeah. Oh, now it's normal. What's going on? McBellan, I have no idea what went on. And for me, it went straight to a political compass test. For you, maybe it went to your search history, so I'd be careful. Well, I don't know what you did there, but now it's normal. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. So maybe there's some new people I've never seen before. When I say that, what I mean is I have watched Nathan's stream once, very long time ago, and I think I remember seeing, who was a guy? I don't remember. There's like one person there, so I don't know. But now it looks like there's a few people. This person called Fellow Citizen, we've been chatting. I don't know who you are. That's cool. It's nice that we're chatting. McBalaban, I'm glad that you found what you're looking for. That's cool. Jay Graftich. Where are you now? Oh, yeah, whoever you are, that's cool. Good. I'm glad that you're here to talk. I hope you're here to talk about politics in this this camera based episode. So that's good. Jub, you sound like the presidential candidate who was a brother of the Bushes. Living the dream. This sucks. Okay, cool. All right. I agree. Something sucks. I'm not sure if not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the most important stuff, really. Especially as photographers, you have to have some sort of political stance that you instantiate through your brand choice. And again, I do have a problem with the fact that Fujifilm are a Japanese company, and Japan has an interesting recent sort of relationship with fascism. And I've got evidently this company. They're called Ultrasone. They're a German company. Fortunately, they were formed after World War II, so hopefully, no connections there. Anyway, let's see here. JGraphTH. Oh, wait, let's see here. I get you are a different person, but there seems to be some distortion echo in audio, that's all. JGraph, it's, I don't know what's going on there. Maybe my room, Nathan's room isn't, whatever. So that's how it looks when you post it, Snicker. I don't know what's going on here. McBallen, I don't know what's going on here. JGrapher, anyways, what's a good camera company that makes a good example? Sorry, what do you mean by good example? Basically, I will say this. Fujifilm covers everything from full frame, not full frame, from medium format, which is a big sensor that gives you the best possible image quality ever. Even those big phase 1 sensors, which are bigger technically, don't produce as good images. And they also make cameras that are really good for sports and for filming. So Fujifilm, they're the only one that I would go for. Now, if you don't want to go for Fujifilm, I can also suggest that you never go for something like Micro Four Thirds. Never go for that. Sensor is too small, way too small. It's just tiny. It's not worth it. And don't go for Sony for sure. They just do full frame and really bad APS-C cameras. Never go for them. Canon, they have an okay line of APS-C cameras for mirrorless. Obviously, mirrorless is the only one that you should be paying attention to right now. The DSLR is long dead. No one should be even touching those things anymore. Nathan, by the way, used one evidently last week for a family photo, and I don't know how he could even focus with that thing. But Canon may technically have good cameras, but they're too expensive. Their lenses are too expensive, and their APS-C small cameras are just, they don't have any lenses. So don't go there. Nikon are, how do I put it? They're completely out to lunch. They don't know what they're doing. They even brought out the same camera and called it the same thing and added evidently another processor and another card slot. So it's not the same, but it's basically the same thing. I don't think it's not worth it for sure. And their cameras, no one's into them. No one's into them for sure. They're pointless. Let's see here. Who else? Leica are for the rich doctors and the dentist. And none of those people know how to shoot a photograph for sure. Absolutely. Anything else? Anyone else? Panasonic, they do Micro Four Thirds and they do full frame. And full frame, to be honest, evidently it does make better images than APS-C, but no one can tell the difference. Absolutely. There's no point going any bigger than APS-C. This is the advice of me. I'm sure Nathan might give you another piece of advice, but he's wrong. Anyway, he's wrong. Okay. Let's see here. This is from JGrapherTH. I've seen video where some YouTubers did leave Canon to Fuji because they are more supportive, or other street photographer who moved to Leica because they are more supportive, more diversity, etc. Canon are a really conservative company, and for sure they're not. They may pretend that they're progressive, and they may hire the right people to sort of show that vision of the world, but no, they're not good. If you're truly progressive, you would have a range of sensor sizes from APS-C to full frame. You can't have full frame and APS-C. So it should be, I'm sorry, medium format and APS-C, a difference of 3.5 size, or four times the size from one sensor to the other. If you go to, and that's a big range. That's very diverse. But if you're just doing a camera company like Canon and you're doing APS-C in full frame, the difference is only 2.25. And 2.25 versus 4 is just, it's not diverse. It's definitely not diverse, not progressive. Okay, let's see here. Fellow citizen, pretty sure HCB discusses it at some point in Henri Cartier-Bresson interview by Charlie Rose. One upload is on the channel Nuno Pala. Well, I will definitely have a look at that. And like I said, generally I have a nuanced position on a bunch of stuff, so I think I can follow it for sure. Okay. Mekbalaban, lol, I see you still struggle with this chat thing. I'm out because no mini disc talk. Sorry for the juvenile joke. Oh, you were joking. You had me a little bit worried there, Mr. Oh, mini disc. Yeah. I don't really. Nathan showed me one of those things once, and I thought it was a floppy disk, and it was like, why are you showing me this? And I guess that's cool. People can have interest in that, I guess, but music, I don't see why, if you're not doing wireless, why you would even bother with music. So anyway, here we go. Now we're on to fellow citizen again. Canon has bad business practices. There was a tussle between Fuji and Canon over certain gray area maneuver for a JP government tender a couple of years ago. Yeah, probably. I mean, it's a big, here's my problem with big companies is generally they get big by doing bad things. Some companies, no. Some companies do good things to get that big, but generally they do bad things. And Fujifilm in Japan, you know, they do a lot of research in the medical and as well as makeup. And I think that makeup is very important. I use a bevy of different foundations and blushes when I go out. I don't have them on right now. And also, they don't make any beard oil, but I have a bunch of beard oils that I really like. And so makeup is a really important, and I guess you could say a progressive sort of market niche for sure. Canon don't do any of that. They do printers, and they do cameras, and they do like some microscope stuff. And there's nothing, all that stuff is just, it doesn't help you present yourself as a human to other humans. And so I don't, yeah, they're definitely not progressive, and I definitely wouldn't support their stuff there. So yeah, anyway, I wish Nathan were here so I could say, I guess, thanks for letting me come here. But yeah, that's, unless anyone has another question, I don't know. I'm just going to not steal. I'm sure he left the beer here for anyway. I'm just going to have it just a little bit. Oh, I just found something. It was right behind the microphone. There's a glass of, it's milk, soy milk, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's a little bit too much lactose for me. I don't think that's, let me try that again. Yeah, that's not, I call basically soy milk, I just call milk. And I think Nathan, maybe he misunderstood me when I asked for some milk. That's not soy milk. Oh gosh. I'm not feeling good. Guys, I'm not sure I'm going to have much more to talk about because I'm not feeling so good. But I guess thank you for everyone's come out to ask questions. Nathan evidently is going to try to do another video, I think, this week or something like that. And then, like I said, I'm doing his, what is it called? I'm editing his essay, and he's shown it to me for like a month and a half, and it seems like he's finally getting it ready, and it's finally taking shape. I've got to agree to say I disagree with basically every word in it. Violently, actually, totally disagree with it. But he'll have an essay that he'll do as a video here, I think, next week. I don't know why I'm even mentioning that it's going to come out, but yeah, if you value progression, don't don't tune into that video for sure. So that's it. I hope that I've made my points clear about Fujifilm and progression, and especially about, well, I guess, in its own way, diversity, as well as if you have a vision for your company, especially if you're trying to, what's the word? Inculcate a certain type of brand image, and you're trying to forge ahead with a certain group of people as brand ambassadors, then you want to make sure that you definitely have a strong vision, a cohesive goal. And in that case, I don't want Fujifilm to change at all. I want them to be more Fujifilm today than they were yesterday. And the big problem is we have a lot of people coming from outside into the Fujifilm world right now. And it used to be pure. It used to be the people that understood how to use a film camera or understood the reason to have a film sort of fascia and a film interface and all that. They would be the only ones that would be coming into the Fujifilm X world. But now we have we have the XH camera, and that one's got it's like more like DSLR. We get the GFX 100, great camera, but very DSLR-like. And we've got a whole bunch of cameras now that they're not film-like. They're not like traditional, and that just happens when you get a whole bunch of people coming in from abroad, basically, from different companies who are bringing in their own, I guess, photography culture and their photography language and then their photography religion or whatever, and they're polluting your idea of what Fujifilm should be. And so I don't like that. I hope that Fujifilm remains at like 5% or 4% of the market, and they can basically, what I want is the fans from Fujifilm to affect the market in general, and Fujifilm itself to remain true to its vision. And so I guess you could say that I hope that they remain or foster a more subversive outlook and way of doing things. So, but you can't do that by becoming more like Canon or Sony. So anyway, that's it. Yeah. Oh, we got one more thing here from fellow citizen. Thanks, TFP, the Fujifilm Progressive. Thank you. Say hello to Nathan for us. Tell him that Nathan is a palindrome in Futark. Okay. I will mention that. Although I think that this chat, from what I saw from his previous videos, will show at the end. I don't know if he's going to watch this. Maybe he's watching it now. Maybe he's one of the 3 people watching. Anyway, guys, thanks. So, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope that maybe Nathan will have me on, and maybe he and I can have a debate, because I know that he's leaving Fujifilm, and I think that's a big mistake. I call myself an anti-theist, but I definitely broach absolutely no, what's the word when you're leaving the faith? Can't remember. Apostasy. I broach no apostasy within the Fujifilm ranks. So, yeah. Oh, okay, we got that guy again. Right at the end, I'm trying to say goodbye, and there's this moonshine guy again. Hypocrite. Okay, I don't really. You know what you can do? You've said nothing without Libsy. I'm just going to go up here, just right at the end here. I'm going to go over to Moonshine Graffiti. What does he say? Moonshine Graffiti. Let's go up here. I wish I could just select soy beer. That's a question mark. Your dream sucks. No punctuation, by the way. So I was looking for that. Let's see here. How many votes? Another question mark. This guy just comes in. He just sort of ejaculating all over the chat stream. I don't like that, but maybe Nathan can contend with that. Anyway, guys and girls, I hope there's girls here. Ladies, I should say, or, if you don't want to call yourself ladies, you can call yourself something else. By the way, my pronouns are exer. I like the exer and xg, or z and je is how I like to be called. I will make a Twitter possibly later, and you can follow me there. In which case, it's a little bit too late to put my links here. Yeah, but that's it. Thank you, guys. Maybe I'll just, what Nathan said right at the end, you got to go click on stop the screen. He says, stop the screen. Okay, so stop the screen. Oh, my face is all big now. That's nice. Okay. Yeah, I'm not, the foundation that I'm using from Fujifilm, I don't have it on right now. So go here, and then he said to take this video and go all the way back and hit play, and then to share screen with audio, and right there. And I think that's, let's see. He said it might be loud, so turn down the, oh wow, that's really, sorry about that. Right at the end, someone sent another question. P.S. Some of your remarks on fascism were covered in Fascism, America's DNA on Contact with Chris Hedges. Guess Gabriel Rockhill. Okay, Fascism, America's DNA on Contact with Chris Hedges. Okay, I don't know, fellow citizen. Thank you for the final comment. I guess I don't know who Chris Hedges is. And America's DNA, obviously, it's like, this is what a lot of those things that I brought up when you say, unless it's a fascist country, that basically apply to America, of course, obviously, and then, you know, whatever. So it's important to always remind yourselves that basically that's always there, and you just don't want to show that there. I mean, what I mean is, you want to always bring up where it exists, fascism, and oppose it. So yeah, America on Contact with Chris Hedges, guest Gabriel Rockhill. Don't know who that is. Anyway, yep. Thank you very much, fellow citizen. Thank you. I guess how do I do this? I will remove myself. Thank you, guys. I will. Oh, JGrapherTH, will you make more videos or streams or contact? JGrapherTH. Nathan, Fauxtaku Lounge. My thing shows Fauxtaku Lounge right there, but I'm just borrowing his stream right now. He said that this is kind of loud. It's really loud. I'm sorry. How do I make the volume go down a little bit? All right, sorry about that. Nathan told me that he wanted to bring on some guests every once in a while. He has evidently a Canon conservative guy to come and talk later on. I don't know when that will be. He also has, I think it was a Nick and Do Nothing, and he has a film fascist that he eventually wants to come on and talk about their politics as well as it regards camera stuff. I'm not sure if I did a really good job on that today, but I hope to come back and maybe even debate with those guys sometime. I don't know if that's possible, but yeah, thank you very much. So, all right, I guess I'll just end the broadcast. Thanks, guys. Peace and diversity out.